Okay, we're back here. Clip number 2, or B2. Yeah, I think some people have actually figured it out. That's how it works. I do numbers and letters because, you know, if you can't work out the letters, you know, if you don't know your alphabet, yeah, 1 to 26, you might know your numbers, and then hopefully by knowing your numbers, you will connect the letters to the numbers eventually. Because I had such a poor memory, but that mainly came out of being bullied over in WA, you see. So, you know, as I said, your brain automatically works out pretty quickly that whatever you can't remember doesn't really hurt you, sort of thing. Sounds good on the surface, but it doesn't help you with things in life, sort of thing. But I suspect there might be a payoff in the end. But yeah, maybe I should go to spot colour on this. I can do this now. I was having great trouble in WA with doing that, because if I went to do the spot colour, I'd turn off the clip sometimes because I had trouble with the button. But you can see this. So this is in our full Aussie sun that's heading towards the summer sun. And we've got the liverworts, so they're not as delicate as you think they are, and they can handle the Aussie sun quite well. It's just they've got to have certain conditions, sort of thing. They almost looks like a hosta or something. Almost looks like a hosta. A hostage plant. Okay, let's get back to I'm just using general trash at the moment, and maybe I should go over to 49 here, or try 49 here on the next clip, sort of thing. They're saying this very rapidly. I probably have stuffed something. All sorts of things came up, and it was doing that jiggling thing. Oh, I think it was like 250 frames a second or something. But anyway, we'll make a walk along here. People are probably looking at my boots thinking, oh, that's a good idea. Or why has he got boots on? Oh, there's a little skink. See, I can just cross over here if I want. Whereas last Sunday, you know, I had to pick and choose where I wanted to, looking for the previous wet and damp spots and seeing just where the liverworts are growing. Okay, to go back to the story again, whenever the fly traps and other CPs used to turn up in the, you know, from the 80s all the way through to the middle 90s sort of thing, used to be festooned with liverworts, but they also used to have these sort of things, pellets in the pots as well. And we had all this nonsense about, you know, is it fertilizer? Is it osmocote fertilizer, or were they snail eggs? And so you had this like confusing thing when you have two equally competing ideas causing confusion, because no one would say what they really were. But it was almost like an obfuscation to say, you know, is it snail eggs, is it fertiliser, blah, blah, blah. Don't look at the liverworts. Of course, my friend from Russia, much later on, you know, in the early new millennium to the about 2010s, I suppose, you know, 10 years ago, I was going on about all this sort of thing, and you know, I did all the usual spiel that we had been doing for years and years, yonks and yonks, ears and ears, and you know, about the low calcium and blah blah blah. And I was talking about all these, you know, lovely plants turning up, festooned in liverworts, and he says, "You do know that liverworts grow on limestone?" Yeah, go and make yourself a baconic sandwich, or put the jug on if you've heard this one before. You probably have, but it's an important one. And of course I did a little bit of research, and sure enough, it's true. In Europe, half the species of liverworts on the European continent and places like that, close to the European continent, are all obligate calcicoles. In other words, they have to grow on limestone, and the other half are facultative. In other words, they don't have to, but they would prefer it, and if they do grow on limestone, they grow better. Basically, that's what facultative means. You know, they don't have to, but if they do, they are better, basically. And so this is rather strange on the back end of the notion that carnivorous plants don't like calcium, but of course we do have a couple of genera, like Drosophilum, grows in limestone country, grows better with it. We also have the Mexican pinguiculas, which are in the same genus as Pinguicula. They are in the genus Pinguicula. They, of course, they're basically facultative. You don't have to go with calcium, but if you add calcium to it, usually it's granulated chalk. Granulation is an important factor. They grow much better. And we saw in the crossing over from the, the new millennium, 99, over the new millennium, we saw in the beginning of the so-called millennium drought, which is still going on, but everyone's saying it sort of ended in 2008, and we're saying, well, no. That's when the glids here started getting, we had really started getting really bad glid years here from 2008 onwards, so it hasn't really ended, The last year I can go back and have good photographs of glids in the wild during a season is 2008 on my hard drive, sort of thing. And this is what I think I call a young Jerusalem artichoke. And I do want to go to spot colouring on this, I think, for you. Okay, spot colouring. So another one over there. It's what I call a Jerusalem artichoke. It might not actually be a Jerusalem artichoke. Got a bit of blackberry, more Cebu label. This is with the looks like warts on them. And they said there was one type out of a thing that seemed like move or something. You touched it and it sort of bent upwards and stayed upright or something. Whether they track the sun or something like that, I don't know. A bit like a jojoba or something. They have a mid-rib full of jelly-like material or something. Maybe it's photoreactive. It bends with the sun or the heat or whatever, can track the sun, or whether it's touch sensitive in a way. Don't know. But we'll go through here. So we're looking out for moss and liverworts, and whether the liverworts grow on the moss. Do you have to have moss to grow the liverworts? Like moss comes first, liverworts come second, or can you just see we got over there? We've got liverworts growing in amongst moss. So do they actually have moss underneath? So first you've got to have an initialisation of the growing surface with moss before you can get the liverworts. But you notice in this clay soil it's all sort of going to a certain brown colour where the liverworts are. Oh, I've got a lovely waft of acacia blossom then. Has this like cherry essence. I remember I got my first carnivorous plants from Phil Mann. Got home and there was a wattle acacia in bloom, one of these cherry essence ones, and so now whenever I see the one with the yellow blooms there, that has a cherry essence to it. So every time I smell that, it's halfway between cherry essence and a duck and that toilet block, the yellow blocks they have in the toilets, in the gents' toilets, halfway between that and cherry essence sort of thing, somewhere in between. So it's sort of, I don't know. Is it psychosexual in a way? I don't know. Carnivorous plants have I don't know. It's well, for me anyway. You always find them in the bush at the time when wattles are flowering. Well, in WA anyway. So So it reminds me when I got my first CPs from Phil Mann. Of course, he's the late Phil Mann, of course. And of course, now we've just heard that Donald Schnell, the great Donald Schnell, has recently shuffled off this mortal coil. They say he went through a bad health stage, so I think he may have been a doctor in Vietnam. So, it could be Agent Orange related, which is pretty unfortunate. So, I don't know whether I don't think he even got to see my clips from WA, because I posted them a couple of months after I came back, sort of thing. I came back and did a whole load of work and then posted them over the hot periods all the time, sort of thing. So, and I still haven't posted everything from WA up there. I've still got Kalgoorlie and a few other places. I've still got the Fremantle Museum stuff to put up, things like that. So I posted I'll say about 3/4. I've still got about, no, not 3/4, about 2/3. I think I've got about 1/3 to go now of other stuff sort of thing. I don't know if there's any more CP related stuff, whether I've posted all the CP, but we'll see. Might be something a little bit special in the can, you know, that I load up. No, I don't want to go up. I want to follow the creek line, don't I? Okay. So anyway, so that's the story about the liverworts so far. And my friend Igor Zakharov. Yeah. I don't know how Russia is going today, but it should get quite interesting with Trump and Russia over the next few months, I would say. Might be a reconciliation. We might find out what has that really been going on in the last, well, since the fall of the former Soviet Republic. If I'm saying that correctly, I'm probably not. And I'm going to just go and try and slide down here and go across, if I can. Probably fine. Whoa, I'm going to the wrong side or something. Okay. Anyway, probably time to start another clip from here. Okay.